it's great to have you here at Orchard.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
2020 was a massive year of change, and I just thought let's catch up and talk a bit about what that means for internal communication and communication generally.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge, and actually, I think internal communication has always been important. It's incredible. It's been shown that, in fact, if you communicate well with your people, then they're more engaged. If they're more engaged, your customers are happy and you make more money. Basically, internal comms is a great key to business success. But in the year we've just had, in which huge change, huge complexity, huge uncertainty, I think the fact that people trust their employers and they feel motivated to work hard for their employers and they feel reassured and comfortable and safe is just even more important than ever.
Absolutely. And do you think that there'll be some companies, some leaders might have taken on some really difficult tasks throughout lockdown or throughout this sort of post-pandemic situation that we face in Guernsey? And maybe what are some of those things that they could carry on doing that might have come into sharp focus that they did immediately that they could carry on with?
I mean, they've had to take some tough decisions. And sadly, some people have been let go. And I think the way they handled that and the way they've continued to handle that will have been really important. So how they stepped up as leaders, but also how honest they were with their own people about the challenges facing and how human they were, because all of those things really counted. And I think if you've built on that trust, if the way you worked through the pandemic actually reassured people and helped that trust to develop, then that's an absolutely great foundation to build on for the year ahead. But you can't sit back. You can't just say, we did it, we communicated well, we're through it. It's an ongoing discipline.
So now's not a time to be complacent then.
Absolutely
keep communicating.
Not. Keep on communicating, keep checking in. Keep making sure that you're clear with people about what your vision is for your business, but also that they're clear on how they can help, how they can support, and above all, that they know they can trust you.
And external communication and internal communication, sometimes treated as very different disciplines, sometimes really connected depending on the size and scale of the business or organisation. Does one come before the other? Which one's more important?
I mean, as we know, PR is about all of your audiences, isn't it? It's about all of your stakeholders, internal, political, suppliers, customers. But if you don't get the internal right, then you might as well give up, because they are the people, your own people are the ones who are in contact with your customers and with your suppliers. So the way they feel about your business is absolutely critical. So there's buzzwords going around. There's kind of internal is the new external, etc. But in a way that has always been so. And if you don't get it right, if you only focus on your external communications, you can actually do more harm than good with your own people.
Absolutely. So as we go into 2021 and lots of companies and organisations in completely new world, where'd you get started? What do you do first?
I think understanding where your own people are. So actually what is important to them, because it's not necessarily what you think it is as the leader of a company. And some people are motivated by the big vision. Some people, it's just really important to talk about their working hours, their working conditions. So actually understanding your own people. And that's hard sometimes, because we're all people pleasers at heart. So, if I come up to you if you were in my company and I say, how things, you tell me, great. But what you really want to do is get behind that and say, well, what worries you? What motivates you? What makes you excited? So actually understanding your own people. And then when you understand that, then to start to build on that and to do it regularly. So to communicate, I think a lot of people have been saying during this pandemic, it's never enough almost, that you can't over communicate actually, because we're all looking for reassurance and guidance every day. So are we checking in with people? Are we finding out what matters to them? Are we, it could be a health and well-being, it's a mental health thing, etc. Are we actually close to what is important to our people? And are we sharing with them quite honestly and authentically what's on our minds, And
I guess technology gives us a massive opportunity, doesn't it? Because in the past, where to take the temperature of your business could have been really really tricky thing to do. Actually now, you can use technology to take a quick survey, understand how people feel about how you have communicated, where the gaps are, And there's lots of tools out there to do that sort of thing.
Absolutely, really quick check-in, really easy to do. We're all getting used to that as customers, feeding back.
Yeah.
But also, actually, even just looking at what your own employees are saying about you on social media. Are they your ambassadors out there?
Yeah.
So just through and analysing what's going on out there in the social world, you can get a very good take. So I agree, yes, proactively seeking opinion, but also looking out there and actually judging it by what people are saying about you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're lucky, if you use internal tools like Yammer or Teams or Slack, there's ways of checking in on what the conversation is, what are the big important things as well. So there's all sorts of ways you can keep close to that.
And when you can't get people face to face in a room, that technology works really well. But also people have got a fatigue of technology, haven't they?
Yes. I don't know, is it yet another Zoom call? I was interested, someone I spoke to recently who she'd almost been saying once, oh gosh, we just keep checking in. It's almost too much, all these Zoom calls. But it was funny. She came back after Christmas and actually didn't hear from her boss for a good 10 days.
Right.
And he sort of cancelled a call saying, there's not much going on.
Yeah.
There's nothing to update you on, so I thought we wouldn't have the call. And she felt really let down by that. So I think keep checking in and recognising people's communications preferences, and not everybody's going to be dancing around on the Zoom. And
I think what we have seen as well is that because people have had those communications, those conversations from their homes, there's been a tone of voice change almost. Absolutely, a kind of where leaders, I've seen some really interesting and successful stories where people have actually just had the kids running around in the background because that's their reality. I think that humanisation of communicating and being part of a team and being part of an organisation has changed because people have been able to use
and it's something I've always said when I've worked with leaders. I've said, be your true self. You know, don't feel you need to sort of put the collar and do the tie up and be, you know, some sort of superhuman. People like vulnerability. They always have. You know, they like to know, because we all balance many things in our worlds. They like to know that
you've got to do a school run, or that actually you've got elderly parents to support.
But this whole working from home has made it very visible, and actually, and I've noticed that in other organisations, people stop sort of speaking to a script as such and start to speak as humans. And that really resonates with people because they get that. So,
And absolutely prepare, have that script, think about what your key messages are going to be, but don't be afraid when that interruption happens, or just to give some personal anecdotes of how your day's gone so far. It's getting that balance right.
You've also got to get those key messages over, but it's getting them over in a human way, telling a story that brings it to life, rather than feeling you have to bring the facts and figures in and sort of be the boss. But, you know, people absolutely will go the extra mile for you if they believe and trust in their employer.
And what about planning? We talked at the start about uncertainty, change, complexity that's going on. Globally, there's still so much flux. We don't know, yes, there's an end in sight, but we don't know quite how quickly that's going to be. And for different jurisdictions, that's going to come at different times. We've seen a bit of a change for our slients with, you know, they're no longer preparing perhaps the 12-month campaign plan in the way that they were. How does that work for internal comms, do you think, and for engaging with your employees?
I think it's a bit of both. I think I agree the planning's, you know, no one's ever going to sit down again and do that. In year one we'll do this, in year two. We're all accepting shorter and more agile planning. So that's one hand. On the other hand, people need more to know about purpose and vision. So I think it's both. I think you've got the longer term, because we know that people, and particularly millennials, want to work for organisations that have got a purpose that they agree with. So I think understanding the horizon, so as a business, being really clear about what your vision and your purpose is, where you want to get to and why you want to get there, but then being a bit more flexible and agile on the how, because that's the thing you're going to have to keep.
So it's both that really long-term vision and then the very, very short-term and the very agile checking in and constantly being in contact with your team. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been great to talk to you today.